Okay, so we're just outside Birmingham Magistrates Court. We've heard fantastic news, the verdicts are not guilty, and we've got Isabel and Father Sean just coming out now to talk to us.
Stand together.
I can't, just great news, congratulations. What would you like to say? What happened?
I'm very pleased to say that I've been completely vindicated of any wrongdoing. It should never have come to this. I should never have been arrested and criminalised simply for my private thoughts on a public street. When I was taken to the police station, I was asked there what I was praying for, what I was thinking about, and I told them that I'd been praying for people like my friend Amy, who was abused and became pregnant and was pressured into having an abortion. For people like my friend Natalia, who took abortion tablets and ended up passing her child at home alone. And she saw that child down the toilet, which has traumatised her for life. For people like my friend Kirsty, who also took abortion tablets, and she passed her child in her bed, and when she removed the bedclothes, she saw what she described as a scene from a horror movie. These are the people I've been praying for. And this is where the true crime exists. That women are sold the lie that the answer to their difficulties in pregnancy is to take the life of their child, and that those who are trying to offer alternatives are being branded as criminals and told that their behaviour is antisocial. What is profoundly antisocial is that in 2023 there are still certain members of our society who are having their most fundamental rights taken from them, the right to life itself, and that other freedoms are now being censored. The freedom to offer help, the freedom to speak, the freedom to pray, even the freedom to think. We must stand up for these fundamental freedoms and ensure that all our laws uphold them. Ultimately, I was arrested because of a very confusing and far-reaching public space protection order, a censorship zone. And I would like to ask all of the elected members of Parliament in Westminster to take notice of this and look at what has happened to myself and to Father Sean and consider this before they pass Clause 9 of the Public Order Bill. This would mean that exclusion zones were happening all over the country outside every abortion centre. Nobody should be criminalised for their thoughts. Nobody should be criminalised for offering help. Nobody should be criminalised for their prayers. And finally, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who's come to support and who has been praying for us. You have been a great source of strength. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Isabel.
Thank you.
Everyone has the right to pray in their mind. I'm pleased that I've been cleared of all the charges today and have cleared my name. It's wrong for the authorities to censor parts of the street from prayer, even silent prayer, from peacefully having conversations and sharing information that could be of great help to women who want an alternative choice to abortion. I pray every day, everywhere I go, and prayer can never be a crime. But I was charged for praying for freedom of speech and for an old bumper sticker on my car that read "Unborn Lives Matter." I stand by my convictions. Unborn lives do matter. Every human being is precious and equal, and I'm proud to be a voice for the unborn, the most vulnerable group of people in our country. Abortion is harmful to women as well, and because of this, much of my ministry as a priest is dedicated to helping women and men affected by abortion trauma to find healing and hope. Whatever your views are on abortion, we should all be able to agree that in a democratic country, we should not be in the business of prosecuting thought crimes. Thank you to everyone who's come here to support me today. But this isn't just about me. The story isn't over. If the government imposes censorship zones around every abortion facility in the country, as they're considering doing with the Public Order Bill currently under discussion, who knows how many more people are going to stand trial? How many people are going to be put in prison for offering help, for praying in their mind? I call on the government to look into the overwhelmingly positive work that the vast majority of pro-life groups do to support vulnerable women at their point of need, before censoring the streets of the United Kingdom and allowing good people to be criminalised for acts of love.
Madam Father Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That was awesome.
And here we have Jeremiah from ADF.
Thank you all for coming here to support Isabel and Father Sean, and for standing with them in prayer for freedom of speech and freedom of thought, and for the rights of the unborn child. We are, of course, delighted that the court has returned a not guilty plea, a not guilty verdict, and that the Crown Prosecution Service rightly decided to offer no evidence. The truth is, Isabel and Father Sean were essentially charged for nothing, and it's right that the prosecution had nothing to offer. But the more pressing question is, how did we arrive here? How did we get here? How did we get to the place where freedom of thought, which is an absolute right, is investigated and put on trial? Both domestic and international law are clear that there can be no legitimate justification for the state to limit, interfere or penalise anyone for the contents of their mind and the opinions that they hold. How did we get to the place where an innocent, law-abiding woman of good character who has selflessly served women and children for 2 decades gets searched and arrested because of the mere prospect that she may be thinking towards God in prayer for unborn children? How did we get to the place where a priest is criminally charged for praying? How did we get to the place where 3 simple words on the back of a car could lead to a criminal charge? Unborn lives matter. And when you think about that, which of these words are considered to be criminal? Well, let's put it this way. If Father Sean had any other word apart from unborn next to lives matter, he wouldn't be here charged today. How did we get to the place where a loving, harmless statement of undisputable facts could lead to a criminal record? In George Orwell's words, some are more equal than others, depending on what views they hold. Where freedom of speech is no longer a fundamental right, but a privilege granted to you only if you agree with the prevailing norms of society. So we got here because, as a country, we have taken for granted the freedoms we once held dear. We've taken our eyes off the ball. We've forgotten that freedom of expression is the foundation of a democratic society and one of the basic conditions of societal progress. We got here because basic principles of the rule of law have been neglected. The principle that the law must be clear, predictable, and also consistent for it to be legitimately on the statute books. Public space protection orders undermine the rule of law and erode the public's confidence in the policing. So for one of his charges, the police actually informed Father Sean that he wouldn't be charged. Then they charged him nonetheless. Both Father Sean and Isabel's charges were discontinued, but then they were warned that they could be revived. Then the CPS were just asked in court, why are you offering no evidence? And they couldn't provide an answer. No citizen should be subjected to the uncertainty of criminal proceedings for exercising lawful rights. The process is fast becoming the punishment. Lord Justice Sedley once said that freedom to speak only inoffensively is not worth having. And indeed, this is correct. Free speech is the lifeblood of any truly democratic society. And lest we forget, it was defended with blood, sweat and tears, and shouldn't be given up so cheaply due to the feelings of offence or even if we strongly disagree. It is the cornerstone of a democracy that must be defended robustly, not because the principle of free speech is perfect, but because the inevitable alternative, namely authoritarianism, is far more dangerous. So dangerous that it could lead to the criminalisation of our innermost thoughts. Isabel and Father Sean's cases show that the current plans to introduce censorship zones across England and Wales constitute a dangerous step towards an illiberal society. We ask parliamentarians to think long and hard about whether we are still a free and democratic society and a free and democratic country, and if so, national censorship zones must be rejected. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I just ask, so what next? Are Isabel and Father Sean free to go back and pray in that area?
As far as the law and the verdicts suggest, they can. But of course, what's inbuilt in the public space protection order is an uncertainty which still bans prayer. And so what we would like to believe is that if they were to go back again, they wouldn't be subjected to the same prosecution, the same criminal proceedings, and indeed that's the only way that the Crown prosecution can be consistent if this offering of no evidence is actually genuine.
So am I right in thinking if Isabel and Father Sean or anyone were to go and think about global warming or what they're going to have for their lunch, that would be fine, but if they were to speak to the Lord God Almighty, then that's against the law?
Yes, it is the first content-based criminal law that we've had in this country where you can be prosecuted and criminalised purely because of the subject matter. And as a result, if you had kneeled down for any other thing, you would have been completely legal. But if you were there praying about the issue, the A word, you would have been considered a criminal. But I'm hoping that this verdict today would suggest that we are taking at least one step forward towards clarity.
It's fantastic news, thank you. And, you know, as Jeremiah from ADF, who's the Alliance for Defending Freedom, who've been Isabel's legal team and Father Sean's legal team supporting them, have said, actually, you know, there is something, this is a small step forward, but it is, you know, still quite disturbing in that you can go and think whatever thoughts you like, but if you think certain thoughts, then you could still face a criminal penalty. This is a discrepancy that I think we just needs to be addressed in the law, and you know, the process is the punishment, isn't it? Isabel and Father Sean and of course Adam Smith Cooper should never have been put through this. Nobody should be stopped and asked by a policeman what they are thinking about. It is incredible that this is happening in 2023 Britain. So one small step forward today. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your thoughts and prayers. And let's just hope in the future that nobody else has to go through this. Thank you.